And we are now live. Alright, so welcome to Usapang Musiko Season 2. So, we've been doing this for this whole quarantine period, no? And I want to just be talking about relevant stuff that's happening right now. And a friend of mine told me that since I've been making YouTube videos about music and music stuff, to sort of do a reaction on the posts that are becoming viral about music education. But instead of doing that, let's talk about it in a more serious manner, no? Instead of just reacting, let's try to dig deeper and try to understand why these things are happening right now. Yeah, shout out to Elmar Kilario. Thanks for joining me tonight. This is going to be a podcast, no? So, let's just talk about music education in general and what may be the things why does these things keep on happening? No, even before blended learning happened, there were a lot of times where you will see misinformation printed on textbooks. I mean, it's normal that that happens. But the thing is, the misinformation is not just on the facts that are present, but I think also in the way that music is taught in school. No? Of course, I've been a student of music for almost more than half of my life. I started playing the violin when I was 6 years old. So before general education for me took in, preschool pa lang, I already started playing violin. So it's very ingrained in me. My understanding of music is a little bit more advanced ever since, no? Since I was taught music theory, note reading, those basic stuff that maybe it would only be taught in regular school at around third grade or second, third, fourth grade, yeah. Those levels. So I already know how to count, how to read notes at an earlier level. So I have this more of an understanding. And I think why these stuff keep on happening is because we lack the specialization on the systems, okay? I'm not gonna hate on the people. I'm not here to give you misinformation as well, but it's just my observation. No? This is my personal opinion. If you have yours, of course, comment down on the chat box. So maybe we could talk about it on this episode of Usapang Musiko. So let's get into it, shall we? First of all, um, I would like to put on a disclaimer that all the things I will say is based on things that I observe, I have learned in the past, and we will be focusing on those things and what I observe right now, diba? So, this isn't based on a lot of scientific research or whatever, but it's on my experience as a student and also as a teacher as well. Even though I'm not teaching inside the four walls of the classroom, I'm teaching music because it's something I love and it's something that I know I can teach and I'm capable of teaching these things because I already know and understand, diba? That's how learning works naman. Okay. So let's talk about the ones that came in about I think it was about time signature or note values, diba? It's very tricky to really understand the concept of note values because there are a lot of variables involved, no? The writing system of music that we all know about, the staff and the clefs and the whole notes, half notes, it's not perfect. Because if you come to think of it, how can you write something that you can't even see. Diba? Where writing or musical notation is more of a guide than being oh, this is how it would sound. No. Because we are working as musicians, we're painting on space. We're painting on time. We're giving our sound through, we're making sound through painting the air or the air that we are working on. So really hard to, it's always going to be just an approximation. And I think it was stated there, like, uh, that whole note has one beat and it goes backwards, no? Like, whole note has one beat, then a half note has two beats, and so on and so forth. And when they got to quarter note, it said four beats. So basically, the understanding is already wrong, no? But you can actually do that, diba? Your quarter note can have four beats, but your whole note should have 16 beats if that's the case, no? It's their understanding that's lacking for me here. And it's not because it's their fault. Maybe at a point the educational system is at fault, but it's more of just the system, not the people. We can't blame the people. They were put in there because of a flawed system. Okay. What am I talking about? Um Again, I'm not spreading hate or anything. No, I don't want you to hate the people. Let's support each other. But let's see. When you started in school, if you were young and you're in third grade, fourth grade, and you had a music teacher, not all your music teachers are music graduates. And this is where I believe that the system is a bit flawed. Why would you have an art teacher teach music? Because it's economical for the school, maybe. I don't know. Because there's this MAPE major, diba? That is a good thing that you have, music, arts, and PE, physical education or fitness, together. But would you want your music teacher to be engrossed in three fields but not really mastering all of them? How can you master three fields at one point inside the school? Diba? They are learning the program. I'm not hating on anything. It's just that the program is flawed. Right? If you're studying music, visual arts, and PE at the same time, how can you master all these? Knowing that there are music schools, there are art schools, and there are now sports schools here in the Philippines, here in our country. So, there's already three fields of specialization when you get into that those fields, diba? And then you're just going to study them the same length. How can you master three separate programs into one? And then tell me that you can express yourself as a teacher to teach all these things, no? It's very, very flawed, in my opinion. Because I've encountered this. I've had good teachers. Of course, we sometimes get bad teachers. It's not the school's fault. No, sometimes there are teachers that aren't capable, really capable of teaching. But of course, there's always going to be good and bad. I'm just speaking out the truth here. Okay. I've experienced this in high school because I had a teacher before that, not really just in high school but also in elementary and also in other fields na rin, no? That I think I know more about music than my teacher, and I think that is something that you can really say talk about, diba? How can someone teach you if you know more stuff about the topic than them? I mean, I know how to play. I know how they also know how to read notes, diba? But they don't understand the deeper concepts behind the music. Like tempo changes, for example, or what does these special signs mean, or how do you translate certain expressions, certain Italian expressions into something that the students will understand better. But this is not just, I'm not hating on anyone. It's just the reality of what is happening right now. Diba? If you have, again, music, arts, and PE, sometimes there's also health. So you have four. And to have a major, you're majoring in four distinct fields. How can you say that you can master each one? Diba? And also, how we approach the arts is really bad. No? We always have this stereotype that arts can't make a living for people. And why is that? They look down on artists. But at the end of the day, if you're surviving, how can you be human without arts, right? It's people think that arts are a lower standard than the sciences, but in reality, to actualize yourself, you need art. It's higher than surviving. It's higher than your health. It's your being, your mind, the way you perceive things. That's art. Diba? It's an expression of yourself. You can't express yourself by not having these things. You can't be human without these things. But people think of it lowly. They always think that, okay, because we're maybe it's because we're in a third world country where survival is of course the most important thing, and we can't really talk about arts in a way because it's very elitist for some to think that arts has a greater impact than just eating 3 meals a day, no? But you have to understand that it's what makes us human. It's what makes us tick. It's what makes us live. And with this understanding, we have to also learn how to approach or how to teach art the proper way. Diba? Because basically, art is an application of the sciences. Learning it in a very, very surface level type of learning won't really give the students appreciation for music and arts, di ba? Because how do we learn it in school? Okay, so we know Bach died in 1750, something like that. Okay, so we know the year, but why? Who is he? Who is Bach? We just know him, the day he was born and the day he died. That's how they teach music. And then they will tell you, okay, his famous works are like this, like that. Oh, Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Okay. You know the title, but you don't know the piece. I mean, you can't sing it, right? The approach on teaching music is very, very surface level. We don't get the understanding. Why did he write this down? What is happening? What form? Okay, why is it important? We don't discuss these things too much. Of course, we discuss Johann Pachelbel with canon, but we only say it, but we don't understand it. And that's why a lot of people don't appreciate the art itself. Because it's not that way that you should teach it. It's not history lang. It's not just history. There's things involved that need further explanation, but you can't really explain it if you just read it from the book. You have to experience it. Diba? With the advent of recordings, YouTube, and everything, You can experience it, but you have to understand it deeper than just knowing the title and how it goes. You have to understand. And how can you master that if you have 3, 4 fields of expertise going on while learning it? Diba? It's like, okay, if you're having back problems, you won't go to a brain surgeon. Or if you're having stomach aches, you won't go to a podiatrist, right? It's the same thing in learning. Why would you teach music if you didn't study it? If you studied art? If you're a painter, how can you teach music? Of course, there are things that are interconnected or intertwined between these two fields. But can you trust me that person to teach you everything you need to know about music? And that's the flaw of the system. We get teachers because it's practicality. That's what's happening. No, I'm not hating on teachers. They are given these tasks, but the system is what needs change. If you want to experience a better learning, if you want our students to understand more music, because as a teacher, as a violin teacher, I get a lot of students that are like, I wish I knew this before when I was still studying so that I could have focused that, okay, there is a career in music. There are a lot of people like that na they realize in college that they don't want to be an engineer, they don't want to be a doctor, that they want to be a musician. Okay? But it's because of how we treat the arts that we get these things that's happening, meme worthy stuff. And it's funny and alarming at the same rate. Because that's what they feed the next generation, the next group of people who will empower the next one after them. But we're feeding them misinformation. We're feeding them into a system in which no one really gets better. It doesn't get better. It's still the same flawed system that we experienced before. No? I finished a degree in music, but before I did that, when I was in high school, people would mock me like, "Oh, uh, music? Why would you pursue music? There's nothing to be gained there." They always tell that, and it's what I want to do, and it's not bad. It's not bad to do what you love, right? That's being human. Why do you have people who are always burnt out? Why do we have a higher suicide rate? Why are people shifting careers here and there? It's because they're not happy with what they do. It's because we were trained to think that, okay, you have to finish college with a good program and then get a job. But are you happy with that job? Are you happy with the cycle that you're in? That you're not the 9 to 5 that you're in? But what you really want to do is paint. What you really want to do is sing. What you really want to do is play. You have to open the eyes of the youth into what the arts can offer. It's not something bad. It's something noble. It's the same thing as being a doctor. Same thing as being a lawyer, being an accountant, or whatever job you want to seek or want to go into. It's the same thing. You just need to appreciate it, no? And of course, it's being human. I'm blessed that I can do this. I can create content for you, play my music for you, and still earn a decent living. Because you can earn a decent living in the arts. You just have to understand how it works and be better every day for yourself, no? In whatever field you choose. But again, the system really needs a change. And not a single person can do a thing about it. it should come from the higher ups. We need artists involved in decision making from the government. We need to raise awareness that the arts is not for the elite. The arts is for everyone. And of course, a better way of teaching the arts is making your students feel. It's not just about, okay, count 1, 2, 3, 4. No. It's very, very surface level. You have to give the students time to understand, because it's it's disheartening to see that these things are happening and we can only laugh at it. But it's a serious matter. We shouldn't laugh at it at all. I mean, we could all talk about it and like raise questions, but it's not just that the system is allowing it to happen. And it's a sad reality that we need to face now. And as music teachers or as musicians, we have to open the eyes of the youth, of the students who are struggling right now, that the arts can be a way of earning a living, that the arts is an important part of society. No? We can only do so much though. But at least we can do something about it. That's the important thing. We can do something in our own little ways to raise awareness, to give people the better understanding of music education or arts education in general. Because I think, yeah, also the visual arts, dance, and other performing arts are still lacking support. No? As much as we want people to be aware of the arts, the schools should be a haven for arts as well, no? Because the thing is, we see students with medals participating in sports. But when do you see someone awarded for being a musician, for being a singer, for being a good painter? No? You don't see that every day. Even in my circle of friends when I was in high school, high school, it was like everyone wants to learn how to play the guitar, diba? During those times. And then I'm the only one who plays the violin. Like, it's a small world for musicians. And it's really sad to think about it, na we're hindering the learning of other people just because it's not normal. We have to normalize the things that there are musicians in the world, there are artists in the world that will develop into good artists to save the future of our country. No? Not everyone needs to be a doctor. Not everyone needs to be a lawyer. Not everyone needs to be an accountant or whatever. Sometimes we need musicians, we need writers, we need artists, we need poets. Because it's what makes us human. Again, the arts is not something without science. I still believe that science is important. But because the arts is a higher form, okay? How can you express something that you don't have? Diba? It's the same thing. To be able to play, you have to understand science. And of course, science comes first. Okay? I'm not saying that it's less important, but being human, you need arts. So at least I hope in the near future, we can get our schools to actually get teachers or actually get mentors that would help in shaping the arts. No? I'm not hating on those who took up MAPE, but what I'm saying is the educational system of having MAPE at all is flawed. Okay? If you look at it in an artist's perspective, it is flawed. Because how can you nga master 4 uh specializations when there are art schools, music schools, even sports schools nga, and then you expect to master them at the same rate that they are mastering one single craft. So this is really sad, and I don't want to make fun of it because it's not funny at all. It's really something serious that we need to really take action as people who understand these arts. No, I'm really happy with some of the reactions people are doing. Like they're making vlogs on how to read notes or how to distinguish certain note values. But it's still, it's not our job. Our job is to raise awareness, but it's in the government right now. The education sector should look into this. They should really hire people who know what they're doing. Okay? Even the music activities, like, why do you need to distinguish the sound of an airplane? How can you describe the sound of an airplane? Is it really needed in music? I had a friend call me, actually message me, maybe a few months back. You're asking, what is the sound of the violin? Why? Why do you need those things? Diba? They just don't know what to teach at this point. They just want the kids, the students to be doing nonsense work because they don't know what to teach. You can ask students to research on stuff or maybe do more activities that are relevant to actually making music. You don't need an instrument to learn music. You can sing, right? You can understand theory and still have fun. But you don't need, why do I need uh to know the sound of the violin is, and then you write it down? Why? What's the point of doing that, right? What's the point? I don't get it. I don't get it. So we really need to reshuffle the systems or whatever we need to do. It's something that's very, very disheartening. But of course, we need to continue to empower people. We need to continue to give a better understanding of what what art is, diba? Because as long as we have artists, no, we may be struggling right now because of the lack of opportunities, but we're still here. We're trying our best to do whatever we can to help people out. And hopefully, we get into a broader awareness of things and the things that are to come for us all, especially during this time. We're all struggling, no? I mean, it's not just in music, but it really shows where we are now as a country. And I don't want to talk about politics here. We just want to talk about arts. And hopefully we get to a point that we don't need to be ranting about this stuff. No? They could change it as soon as possible with the help of people who know what they do or who knows what they are doing. Yeah. Anyway, hi Clyde. Thanks for joining in. I hope you're learning something today. Yeah. Okay, thanks for joining me in this second episode of Usapang Musiko for season 2. I'll be making more podcasts of this type on my own, but on Thursday, please do support us with a special guest So you'll see that soon. And again, thanks for joining in. This has been Usapang Musiko. Hopefully, you've been empowered and enlightened in this podcast. And I'll see you soon. Please do subscribe to my to my social. Sorry. So it's in the description box below. And I'll end it here. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.